Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about all the movies I watched in March. So March was kind of a very slow movie watching month for me. I didn't watch as many movies as I have in the previous months. I think I did a little bit more reading and was focused on a bunch of other shit. So my movie viewing was slacking this month. But I did watch some good ones, some gems. I watched about six movies? No, I watched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I watched 9 movies this month. So, I mean, it's still a lot. I have a life. I can't just sit and watch movies all day as much as I'd love to. The first movie I want to talk about is Alice, Sweet Alice from 1976. Alice is a withdrawn 12-year-old who lives with her mother and her younger sister Karen, who gets most of the attention from her mother, leaving Alice out of the spotlight. When Karen is found brutally murdered in a church, suspicions turn toward Alice. But could a 12-year-old girl really be capable of such savagery? This is a classic, and I've always known it for its imagery of the creepy mask that the killer wears, and they're wearing a raincoat. And can we just say, what's the deal with killers wearing creepy raincoats or like creepy outerwear? So the story was really interesting. It's a religious horror, and this movie is about a person who is so deeply devoted to religion that they let it skew their thoughts. It's similar to Saint Maud in that way. And I just thought the imagery was haunting. There's some really creepy moments. The soundtrack is beautiful, and the acting from the young girl who plays Alice is phenomenal. I thought she did an amazing job carrying this film, and I was surprised to see that she didn't do more movies after this. And Brooke Shields is the other girl. It's a classic for a reason, and I highly recommend it. It's on Amazon Prime right now. Next, I watched Ken Russell's The Devils. Ugh. The Devils is a dramatized historical account of the rise and fall of Urban Grandier, a 17th century Roman Catholic priest accused of witchcraft following alleged demonic possessions of sexually repressed nuns. So another religious horror movie. In this one, everybody was praising about it. It's finally on Shudder, and so I was like, okay, I gotta watch it. This one wasn't for me, but I can understand why other people love it. It's an exploitation film, I would say, and it's just really bizarre. I don't know really, it's just like he threw everything in the kitchen sink into this movie. It's just so many different things are happening, and the lead is played by Oliver Reed, and he's great. I feel like he's just super theatrical and over the top in everything he does, but he gives his all in his performance. And there's a scene where he comes in, he's like, "What fresh lunacy is this? Is this a crocodile?" And I was like, whoa, where the fuck did that crocodile come from? And he throws the crocodile out the fucking window, and it just gets crazier from there. There's like nun stuff that I don't even know how to describe this film. It's just, it felt like a trip, like a fever dream, and it's just weird, and I think it would be fun to watch with a group of people. I didn't have that. So I don't know. I'm glad that I can say I watched it, but I wasn't a huge fan of it. And again, that's available on Shudder. Next, I watched The Exorcist from 1973. In The Exorcist, 12-year-old Regan McNeil begins to adapt an explicit new personality as strange events befall the local area of Georgetown. Her mother becomes torn between science and superstition in a desperate bid to save her daughter, and ultimately turn to her last hope, Father Damien Karras, a troubled priest who is struggling with his own faith. This was a rewatch for me. I've seen The Exorcist before. It used to terrify me as a kid. I remember when I first watched it, I was so scared that I had to sleep with a cross afterwards. I had to pray because I saw this young innocent girl who was getting possessed, and I was like, holy crap, if this can happen to her, it could happen to me. So it freaked me out, and with the flashes of the devil on the screen, that freaked me out too. I was like, whoa, am I becoming possessed right now? So watching it again as an adult after many years was interesting. It didn't scare me as much as when I was a kid, but I saw it in a different way because I had always imagined it as a story about Regan, but in actuality, it's Father Karras' story, his fight with believing in God, his struggle to find his faith, and I just think it's so well done. And I just recently read the book that the film is based on for the first time, and William Peter Blatty also wrote the screenplay for this, so it is the perfect adaptation of the film, of the book, and it's a classic. It's terrifying in many ways, and I highly recommend it. It is available on Amazon. I don't believe it's on Prime, but it's only a couple of dollars, so, you know. And then after that, I watched Leap of Faith, William Friedkin on The Exorcist, which is the 2019 documentary on Shudder. Leap of Faith is a lyrical and spiritual cinematic essay on The Exorcist, the last film of Alexandra O. Philippi, explores the uncharted depths of William Friedkin's mind's eye, the nuances of his filmmaking process, and the mysteries of faith and fate that have shaped his life and filmography. So this was really interesting. I watched it immediately after The Exorcist, and I feel like it gave a lot of insight into the film and William Friedkin's directional choices. And he talks about how he wanted to adapt the book basically word for word, and he had William Peter Blatty do that, and he also had some interesting choice of directing his stars. Like, he talked about in one scene, he used a priest, a real life priest, who I believe he played Father Dyer in the movie, and it's when he finds Karis at the end of the film, and he's super emotional, you know, he sees his dead friend on the ground, or his dying friend, and he has to give him his last rites, and the priest playing the priest in the film was like, I don't know if I can be this emotional, I don't know if I can do it. So William Friedkin punched him in the face and then pushed him onto the screen to do the scene, so then he got the emotion that he wanted. And that made me halt and say, whoa, you're fucking crazy. That is abuse, man. And I know he did way more than that he didn't touch upon in the film. Like, I believe he injured Ellen Bernstein because he was trying to get a certain reaction out of her. He shot a gun off in one scene for Father Karras, and you can see the startled look on the actor who plays Karras in the scene, because he didn't know that he was going to shoot off a gun. And I believe Linda Blair was injured, so I feel like he's a little sketchy. I mean, yeah, he created an amazing film, but did he have to abuse his actors? No, he didn't. So, and he has no, like, remorse for it. He thinks what he did was amazing, so whatever. Anyway, the documentary was really interesting. It's a really in-depth look. If you're looking to find out more about The Exorcist and William Friedkin's mind, I would highly recommend it. It's on Shudder. Next, I watched David Cronenberg's The Brood from 1978. So this is a continuation of my David Cronenberg journey. I've watched a few of his films already, and this was highly anticipated on my list, and I watched it on David Cronenberg's birthday. It felt right. In The Brood, a man tries to uncover an unconventional psychologist's therapy techniques on his institutionalized wife, while a series of brutal attacks committed by a brood of mutant children coincide with the husband's investigation. David Cronenberg. You know what? This didn't bother me as much as I thought it was going to be. I feel like that's the case for most of his movies. Like, I avoided them for a while because I thought I wouldn't be able to handle them, but I can handle a lot, I'm learning. So this one was a really interesting story. It has some creepy monsters and some creepy body horror stuff, but surprisingly, it didn't gross me out. Like, it almost seemed natural to me, which is fucking weird, because the scenes I'm referring to are a woman, she gives birth to this creature out of her belly button, and then she licks it like a cat. And I was like, oh, okay. Anyway, the movie follows this couple is going through a divorce, and the dad is trying to keep his daughter safe, and he finds bruises all over his daughter's body, so he's convinced his wife is abusing her, and he's trying to figure out what's happening. And meanwhile, she's going through this weird therapy that all of her thoughts and frustrations manifest in these little creatures, these children creatures who also wear jackets that are colorful and bright. See, monsters fucking love outerwear, and they start killing people who harmed the woman in some way. So they go after her mother, they go after her father, they go after anyone who the woman is angry with or hurt by, traumatized by. And it's a really interesting story, and I guess it is based on David Cronenberg's, or it's not based on, he didn't fucking, he wrote it while he was going through a divorce with his wife, and he was going through a custody battle, so it was a like therapeutic experience for him. I don't really know what he was trying to say about his wife. It was really good, and I'm liking David Cronenberg, guys. I think I'm a Cronenberg fan. I still don't want to watch Videodrome though. I don't wanna, okay. Next, I watched A Promising Young Woman from 2012. 2020, wow. Can you imagine if we were in 2012? A Promising Young Woman follows a young woman haunted by a tragedy in her past takes revenge on the predatory men unlucky enough to cross her path. So some would argue this isn't a horror movie, and I guess you're right, but it's a horror movie for women, or anybody who is, you know, going through shit. Like, the film, it touches upon a very dark subject matter of assault and how society lets men or predators continue to get away with harming people, assaulting people because they're good boys, you know? It was just really interesting. Carey Mulligan is amazing. I went into this hoping she was gonna kill some dudes, you know, slasher style, but it was not that at all. It's basically, she's very traumatized from the events that happened to her friend, and she's trying her best to avenge her friend, and she's kind of ruining her own life doing that. She's on this crusade that's never going to make things better. It's terrifying. It's my worst fear, and that's what she says before that. She is talking to the guy about it, and he's like, please don't out me for doing this. This is like my nightmare. And she's like, well, do you know what every woman's worst fear is? And it's just so true. I mean, I worry about that shit all the time. We've grown up having to be careful about leaving our drinks somewhere near men who might take advantage of us, walking with car keys between our fingers in case any man comes up behind us. It's just really poignant and timely. Always. It's always timely, okay? Because men are always fucking doing stupid shit to women, and it's just, I know it's not all men, but it's an interesting, intriguing film, and Carey Mulligan is amazing. The music is amazing, the colors, and I liked the ending. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but it's real life, sort of. Like, I highly recommend it, and I promise I don't hate all men. Maybe just a few, okay? Maybe just a few. Maybe some of you out there are like this, and you gotta stop, okay? Stop it. Stop. Next, I watched Stay Out of the Attic on Shudder, and whoa, this movie wasn't good. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't watch the trailer, and then I found out it was a Nazi exploitation film, I guess. I don't really know what an exploitation film is, so I'm making that shit up if that's not true. But it's about a group of ex-cons who work for a moving company, and they're hired by some old guy to move his belongings out of his house within a night, and they have to follow two simple rules. They can't go into the attic, and they can't go into the basement, and of course they break the rules, and then shit goes bad from there. This movie has some interesting characters who are definitely stereotypes, and I don't know if there was a point, if they were trying to be funny, but it didn't work for me. There's a white character who is or was racist. He was in the KKK while in prison, and he's the savior. Like, he's the one who saves the day, and I don't like that. Why did you do that? I loved the setup. It has some awesome gore, but it's super not for me. Like, I think they did a lot of things wrong, and I don't like it. I don't recommend it. I'm sorry. Next, I watched The Block Island Sound from 2020. This one is on Netflix. What's controlling the town on Block Island? There's a force lurking off the coast, and the wildlife and people are all behaving strangely. That is the worst fucking synopsis I've ever read. That doesn't tell me shit about the movie, and that's on Letterboxd. So, is that the IMDb fucking synopsis? No. I don't even know. It follows this family on this island in Block Island, and they're experiencing weird shit, and the dad of the family has been experiencing some weird blackouts, and he's just behaving strangely, almost like he has dementia or Alzheimer's. He's losing his mind. The family is trying to cope with that, while also the daughter of the family she works for an environmental organization that is trying to uncover what's going on with the fish that are falling from the sky and washing up on the beach dead. During all of this, the father takes his boat out and he vanishes, and then they find his body a few days later, and the son is super heartbroken, and he's not convinced that his dad just drowned. He thinks somebody did something to him. So he goes into the water to try to uncover what's going on, and it's just weird. It's very weird and out there. I thought the performances from the lead actor were phenomenal. He was so good. He held this movie together. You just feel every emotion he's feeling, and you want him to be okay. You want the family to be okay, and you know it's not gonna be okay. It has some creepy moments, but it's not super gory. It's more psychological. You don't really see a whole lot. It's mostly seeing how this person is kind of losing his mind, and I thought it was an interesting watch, and I think you should check it out. And lastly, I watched The Night Clerk on Netflix. In The Night Clerk, Hotel Night Clerk Bart Bromley is a highly intelligent young man on the autism spectrum. When a woman is murdered during his shift, Bart becomes the prime suspect. As the police investigation closes in, Bart makes a personal connection with a beautiful guest named Andrea, but soon realizes he must stop the real murderer before she becomes the next victim. This movie has really low ratings, and I don't know why. I think it's a really decent thriller, and Ty Sheridan gives an awesome performance. He pulled me in. I almost shut the movie off because I stupidly started reading the reviews, and they were very low, and I was like, I don't know if I'm into this, but he just kept pulling me in. He was so good. He's so charming and engaging, and he's super sweet, and he's playing a person with Asperger's, and I think he does a pretty good job. It's not offensive. It seems very real and grounded, and I just couldn't look away from him. He was so good in this movie. Ana de Armas, she's also great. I feel like she always is. It's a perfect late night movie when you have nothing else to watch kind of thing. It's not super memorable, but it was interesting, and I think it's worth a watch if you have Netflix. It's not as bad as everybody's saying. For the performances alone, yeah, it's a little cheesy. It's just there, you know? It's not like doing anything outstanding aside from Ty Sheridan. I love him now. I need to watch more Ty Sheridan films. I think he's great. So there you have it. That's everything I watched in March. That felt like a lot of movies when I'm talking about it. So what did you watch? Let me know down below. Have you watched any of these movies I talked about? What did you think? Please hit subscribe if you want to see more shit like this from me. And let's connect on social and become spooky besties so we can talk about spooky shit. And I'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching.